Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo! I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available in the fall of 2022, the album Dad AF Rock on Gold Dust Woman. Beast! Happy Wednesday. How are you guys doing today? Are you excited about this video? Or are you more excited that the McRib is coming back to McDonald's on October 31st? Did you know that? The McRib is coming back to McDonald's, so get in line, get excited now. You can get it with your apple pie. Anyway, how are you guys doing today? I have to tell you, I'm a little bit nervous about making this video because anytime I do a video about Shane Dawson specifically, there are all of those super fans of Shane Dawson out there that come out and they are super defensive of Shane Dawson. It's like Shane Dawson can do absolutely no wrong. You could, like, on a pad of paper, show everything that he has done, everything that he has lacked taking any accountability for, and they make 400 excuses for it, right? And so when I knew that he was coming out with this new series, I obviously knew that I was going to do after shows of the series. I've done that in the past series that he has put out. So I knew that I was going to cover it, right? And so I thought, okay, well, going into this, when he announces the series, because I knew he was going to do that, because this is kind of how Shane does things, right? Shane goes and films whatever he's doing, and then it takes him 14 months to edit it. And then after he's done editing it, then he puts out a teaser, and then another teaser, and then another teaser, and then another teaser. And then finally he says it's going to come out on November 1st, next Tuesday, but it'll probably be like November 6th because he is still editing or something like that. So anyway, so I know the spiel, right? Like, I know how it all works at this point. So when I knew that he was coming out with his new series, I was like, okay, Peter, just go into it with an open mind. You know, I have said in many of my videos that I have felt with Shane doing the podcast and things like that, that I really do feel like Shane is making some positive changes. And I really did feel that way until last week. And one of the things I want to talk about, you know, this series that he's doing is a 3-part series, and this is kind of a 3-part video. This video is going to be in kind of 3 parts. So I want to talk about, first of all, I think this preface to talking about Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson doing a series again together, why they are problematic, and I think that that's important because that question keeps on coming up. And then I want to talk about the series itself, and then I want to talk about the internet's reaction to him announcing the series, because it was very mixed and it was very interesting to me, the response that it got, okay? Especially under his own Twitter when he posted it, because under his Instagram where he posted it, I don't know if he is deleting comments. I don't know if he's going in there and editing it, but there really weren't that many negative comments. And the majority of the people underneath his Instagram posts were really, really excited about this new series. Underneath his own Twitter, where you can't delete things, it was a little less positive. In fact, it was rather negative, just negative, 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 negative. And I've, you know, screenshot them, and so I have those. And I was really surprised. Number one, people were saying that they felt like he needed to work on some of his problematic behaviors. And number two, they were really surprised that he was aligning with Jeffree Star again, I guess. And number three, that he couldn't be creative enough to come up with something other than doing another series with Jeffree Star. So those are kind of like the 3 different, I would say, criticisms that Shane Dawson is receiving before the series is even out. And you know, I think it's interesting because up to this point, like, these big series that Shane has put out are always received with such positivity. And I think that he really believes that enough time has gone by. And I think he is so fixated on this idea that people really love him and Jeffree Star together. And so they're going to love this series. And I do believe that this series will get quite a few views. I think it will do well on YouTube. It'll probably start trending on YouTube and all of that. And people will be over there and they'll be loving it because there is a huge fan base of Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star that still love them and love them together. But I also believe that it will be met with a lot of criticism. I really, really do, because it already is in a way that none of his previous series have been met with criticism. I mean, it's really, and I'm wondering kind of like, I know Shane Dawson is somebody that really has a difficult time with criticism. I'm wondering how he's dealing with that. So I want to say, this is the preface part to the video, before I get into all of that. What I wanted to say is that I noticed in reading a lot of the comments, okay, and I wanted to kind of get my ducks in a row, because I wanted to make sure that if I got into this video and I said what I had to say, that I could back it up, right? So when I was getting into this video, I started looking at old articles and I looked at things because I wanted to kind of see this whole notion of have they really changed as people. Because one of the comments that I saw was that, you know, this common theme of a comment that I saw was that when people would be critical and they would say, you're still so problematic, you haven't changed, you haven't taken any accountability, people would say things like, oh, you still hold Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson accountable for things they did 10 years ago, okay? So, is that a fair statement? Let's take a look. First of all, I went in and I looked at different things that had happened over the, you know, the last 10 years or whatever. I think to hold somebody accountable for something that they did 10 years ago, if they haven't taken any accountability and they haven't talked about it or changed, I think that's one thing. I think to take accountability for things you did 10 years ago and to show that you've changed over time, I think is a completely different thing. Is that what Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson have done? I don't know. I went in and I looked, and, you know, Shane Dawson just had this supposed cancellation about 2.5, 3 years ago, okay? Since he's come back, he's made a lot of jokes about the cancellation. There hasn't been a lot of accountability taken. I haven't really noticed a lot of change, except for that he has attempted to stay out of drama. And I really think that that's a big thing. Like, I give that a lot of power when I talk about these bigger YouTubers and trying to stay out of drama. It's like with Laura Lee and Manny MUA, right? Like, they have wanted to kind of constantly stay out of drama and not give their 2 cents about things that have gone on and whatever. Like, they would rather just, you know, not get as many views and whatever at the expense of being popular by drama than be involved in it and have all of that goes along with it, okay? So Shane Dawson had this cancellation that occurred 2.5, 3 years ago. So you look at that. So let's put Shane Dawson to the side, because since then, okay, he's come back, and I feel like he and Ryland are like settling down, and they're gonna have this baby by surrogate and getting married, and they have this house in Colorado, and Shane put the podcast out. And I really have felt, until last week, okay, that he had really been showing a lot of growth. So let's put Shane Dawson over here, because I really felt like he had been making a lot of growth. And on that note alone, had I gotten into this video and talked about this series, I probably would have just criticized it and said something like, really, like, you can't come up with anything else. I mean, you are considered supposedly, even at any expense of cancellation, Shane Dawson as an author who has written 2 books, as a YouTuber that has been around the YouTube space for 10 plus years, highly successful, okay, has come up with all kinds of things to do. The only idea that you can think of for a series is to go back to where you were last with Jeffree Star. And unless there's some cathartic process to this series, unless they show in this series a reason why this is the next series he's doing on the heels of his last, well, I mean, he did the Haunted Bridge kind of series or whatever, the Haunted series. But if he goes back and he explains why this series is the next one, then that would make sense to me. If it just goes in and shows the fabulous life of Jeffree Star in Wyoming, who'd care? Like, seriously, you went to go visit your friend in Wyoming, you did a vlog while you were there, you took your filmographer, Chris, with you, and had him film all of it, and you called it a 3-part series. That's not creative, it's not talented, and millions of YouTubers do it. Let's just call it for what it is, okay? So if that's all it is, at the end of the day, I'm not impressed, period. I'm sorry, I'm just not, okay? And, you know, if it is more and they talk about what's happened in there, then we'll talk about that. Then I'll give that credit and whatnot, right? Okay. When you talk about Jeffree Star, Jeffree Star is somebody that has continued to show that he has not changed. And I know when I say this, the Jeffree Star fans, the super fans, the lovers out there are like, that's just not true, okay? Well, just last year, he was in Keemstar's Basement podcast, and he was talking about what happened with James Charles, and he was playing for people the DMs that he had, all that, okay, that weren't his to show or play for people, okay? There was the whole situation with Hair by Jay and Trisha Paytas that came out. And I know, right now Trisha Paytas is highly criticized for 9 million things. I get it, right? Okay. But at that time, she was in frenemies and she was doing better and people were really hoping the best for her and rooting for her and things like that, right? And Hair by Jay, and I looked up the article on Insider because I wanted to see, Trisha Paytas called out Jeffree Star for allegedly telling her not to eat and criticized her friend Shane Dawson for supporting the makeup mogul. And this is from January 15th of 2021. This is almost a year and 10 months ago, okay? And then she said, Jeffree Star was mean and evil, mean girl. And that was when Hair by Jay got in the Instagram story and he called her all these horrible names. And Jeffree Star really, to this day, has never really come out and spoken about it, right? In fact, 2 weeks after the fact, was hanging out with Hair by Jay, okay? Oh, but wait. A year prior to that was when Cam Lester came out, and he shared a lot of the ways that he felt that he was treated by Jeffree Star, and all of the things that Jeffree Star says behind the scenes. I looked up that article as well. So you guys, if you want to go look, all these articles are up there as well, right? Oh, but wait, then there were allegations that Jeffree Star still uses the same racial slurs that he has said in the past around the people that he's comfortable with, and on and on and on. So there's been a lot to show that Jeffree Star really hasn't changed as a person. I know his fans don't want to believe it, okay? But the evidence is there. And in fact, Jeffree Star comes out and he does these apology videos, these gold couch apology videos, and says, and I make fun of it because it is so ridiculous and pathetic, okay? This is the last time I am ever addressing drama again. Well, had you appropriately addressed it previously, and had you actually changed as a person, okay, what you might realize is that real change and real growth is evident by your actions and your behavior of who you are as a person. You can see it in somebody typically, right? Okay. So that's Jeffree Star. I'm not convinced Jeffree Star has changed. I still think he's the same person. Now, there's a lot of people that are criticizing Shane Dawson for doing this series because they think that Shane Dawson's going to go and show this ranch and it's whatever, and it's Jeffree Star and him like using these yaks as meat and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the other people that are saying, well, it's a farm and you don't know about farming and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think that's completely besides the point. I think what I'm interested in is, why do these two egomaniacs who are problematic continue to support each other time and time again? And if you go to this Trisha Paytas article where the Insider said, and you go back in there and you listen to what Trisha Paytas said in her video, I believe it's still up, okay? It's interesting because in there she says that she addressed Star's friendship with Shane Dawson, who is one of Paytas' oldest friends on YouTube, and Paytas criticized Dawson's constant promoting of Jeffree Star. So it makes you wonder, what does Jeffree Star have on Shane Dawson, or vice versa? Or are they so contingent on each other for making money that that's all that they have, right? For the merch and whatever. Because I'm sure merch will come out for this series. I'm absolutely sure of it, right? If we aren't going to see a product come out of this series, right? A palette, or yak meat, or Shane Dawson jerky, or something. There will be something that comes out that will be some way for them to make money off of this, right? Okay. So then let's go in, and this is still the preface part of this, right? Let's go in and talk about what happened last week. Shane Dawson posted a picture on his community tab on here. I will put the picture up here somewhere. On his community tab on his YouTube, Shane Dawson 2 channel, right? And he said above here, big announcement. Starting in 2023, the podcast will be weekly. Thank you, Destry Smith, for editing today's podcast. I'm so grateful we met back in 2008, and I'm so excited to work with you and your new company, Triangle Face Productions, in 2023. Hope you guys are enjoying the new episode. I'm so excited. I might puke in a good way, okay? When I tell you the amount of DMs that I started receiving from people saying, are you going to talk about this? Are you going to address the fact that Shane Dawson, okay, that was canceled, supposedly, and is still upset that he was canceled over all of these allegations for these inappropriate comments that he made about minors, is aligning himself with Destry Smith. Well, I was like, I don't even know who this person is, okay? I had no clue who this person was. So I went in and I started looking at who this person was and all this kind of stuff. And he's a YouTuber. I think he has about 1 point something million subscribers and whatever. In 2021, there were mass amounts of alleged allegations that came out towards this man, okay? Tons of allegations about inappropriate relationships, about pictures that were being sent, on and on and on and on, okay? And he actually came out in a video and he addressed it. And he didn't deny much of it. He took a lot of responsibility in saying, I was a horrible person, I have done horrible things, but I'm not that person today, which is always the go-to, right? Which is like, I'm a changed person today. But they don't ever tell you how they changed or what they've done or whatever, but it's always that I'm a changed person today, right? And I say this, and I say it in my videos on all of my channels, okay? A changed person can tell you how they've changed. They can tell you what they've done, you know? So when I sit here on camera and I tell you that over the years, I've had to take a look at who I was as a person, at the things I've done that I'm not proud of, and how I've changed as a person, what have I done to do that? I have done inventory. I have done evaluation. I have sat with my therapist for hours on end. I have sat with my sponsor in a 12-step program for hours on end and done inventory. I have made amends to many, many people, okay? I have taken a look at the wreckage of my past. I have taken a look at my character defects. I have taken a look at why I was that person and why I did those things and why I spoke that way, and realized that I didn't want to be that person anymore, and put into, play, what did I need to do to be a different person today? It's really not that difficult when you've done those actions to explain to somebody how you've changed, right? So to just sit on camera and say I'm a changed person is whatever. And people aren't buying it with this person that he's a changed person. And now, 1 year later, this is who Shane Dawson is aligning himself with and giving a platform to, okay? He's giving a platform to this person that has all of these alleged allegations. Is that alliterate? That's not. All of these alleged allegations from the past, okay? So let me tell you, when you go underneath here and you read the comments, these are the top comments, okay? The top comments. 1.7 thousand comments underneath this post. Now let me go up here to his 21 hours ago, The New World of Jeffree Star. We had the beautiful world, we had the sad world, we had the happy world, now we got the new world of Jeffree Star, okay? 702 comments. So this Destry Smith post has 1,000 more comments on it. I mean, it's really sad. 7 days ago, he posted this conspiracy theory, 44 comments on it. He's hardly getting any comments on it. 1.7 thousand. So here's the first comment. Are you ready? Regardless of if Shane knew about this guy's history or not prior to asking him to do his podcast, a proper and well-respected podcaster should have done the research as to avoid this very thing from happening. It's either Shane was being negligible when it came to researching the guest. It took me 2 seconds, you guys, when people sent me messages to Google search this guy, and when you look up his name, it's literally like the third thing that comes up, okay? I mean, it is all over the internet. It's either Shane was being negligible when it came to researching the guest, or he is aware of the guy's history and it simply has some other motive as to why he's having this guy on. Whether or not the motive is pure or simply up for debate, one would hope that Shane would have rejected any kind of attention like this, considering the new family edition he will be introducing soon enough. Then again, you never know with Shane. He doesn't seem to ever learn. He just plays the victim card and makes some self-deprecating jokes so people pity him and forget about what he originally did wrong. It's been happening for decades with him. It's the most predictable thing on the internet. 141 likes and 16 replies. And one of the replies, zero chance that Shane didn't know about this. These two go way back to even before 2010 even. This is pure ignorance towards the fan base. They all want to move along like it never even happened, hoping everyone forgets about it. That's a common tactic. And then they go in here and just back and forth with people asking what happened and people talking about it. Somebody said, you should have him on your podcast and ask him about all of those he was talking to. All of those people that he shouldn't have been. Somebody said, everyone that is remembering Destry from the past must not know that he is a damn, I mean, these people, I'm just reading these comments down. How could you collaborate with him, Shane? I've been watching you since I was literally 11, and from the beginning, I love you. You can't let here we go with the word again, the P word. This was literally the dumbest and worst possible choice for someone who claims to be actively seeking to be better and come back from scandals. Someone who was canceled partially for related stuff, wouldn't think of associating with someone who admitted to sexting with certain people. What else are y'all editing? After everything, it is hard not to feel like this announcement is not an insult to your audience's memory and intelligence. This is so disappointing after the allegations. You can do better, Shane. Isn't this, I mean, it is just one comment after another, you guys. And he's not deleting these. Oh, Shane, you are doing so well. This is a big no from me, and I am out of it if you're still associating yourself with SHI Toot like this. Such a damn shame. Somebody said, I'm so glad this comment section is talking about how much of a creep Destry is. The truth doesn't lie. Somebody said, awesome, 2 men who have previously enjoyed. You guys, it goes on and on and on and on and on, right? So when people want to say Shane Dawson has changed, and then Shane Dawson is platforming, not only platforming, he could have had this guy edit his podcast and never said anything about it. He's posting a picture of it. He's doing all of that, okay? And he'll probably be like, well, we're going to interview him for our podcast and ask him a bunch of questions about this and give him, why would you do that when there are people out there, your fan base, that have been hurt by this? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So when the question comes up that Shane Dawson has changed, for me, that's what it is, okay? So that's the preface at 20 minutes. Now, you want to talk about what I think about the series? I think it's a Boresville Borass is what I think, okay? I just got done watching the 10-part series, The Patient, with Steve Carell. It was the worst TV show I've watched of 2022. I don't know how I even finished that television show. I'm going to do my review of it today on my review channel. But I'm sure that this will be even worse, okay? And I really, it is mystifying to me, you know? Like, I go to words like sad, confusing, things like that. Mystifying to me. Shane Dawson has done nothing but sit in a house, okay, for months on end, had the ability, hold on a second, had the ability to sit in a house for months on end, except for doing a podcast once a week, which a lot of people do, okay? A lot of people do a podcast once a week. A lot of people podcast every single day. Well, what is it? Every week or every 2 weeks? Well, now he's saying it's going to be every week. So what is it now? Every 2 weeks? I don't even know. Let's see on here. Let me go to his chain. I have no clue how often that podcast comes out. So let me look up here and see. Shane 2 videos 9 days ago, 1 month ago. So what, 2 months ago? So he's doing it like every 2 to 3 weeks. The podcast is coming out. So he's posting a podcast like every 2 weeks, right? Okay. So he's so busy that he can only post a podcast every 2 weeks. And he had the ability, while other people are out there working 2 and 3 jobs, he's had the ability to sit on his butt and really do nothing but figure out which alpaca he wants to buy, because they just got some alpacas for their house, which I think is kind of cool. Okay, and all this kind of stuff at the expense of the conspiracy palette. Don't forget that. And his merch that he continues to push and put on sale and push and put on sale and push and put on sale, right? Even though he never wanted to sell merch and he never wanted to push it, he's continued to push it. And so everything that he has said is completely not true. So now this friend of his, this friendship with his of Jeffree Star has really, I have seen, started to erode Shane Dawson to some degree, especially when it comes to all this kind of stuff, right? Okay, so in all of that time, with you wanting to do horror movies, like you have, first of all, the platform that he could have come out with a horror movie. He's got Morgan, Ryland, Chris, his brother, Ryland's whole family in Colorado. I'm sure a ton of fans could have done it. All kinds of wooded area there. I mean, he had that whole property. He could have done any kind of horror movie, written a script for it, and had it out this week on Halloween, and people would have eaten it up, and it wouldn't have gotten the negative reception like another series with Jeffree Star is going to get, okay? And he's talked time and time again about wanting to do a horror movie. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And he has the channel to do it on. He could have posted, he could have done it in 3 parts, or he could have done a full-length, major-length horror movie. You know, I'm just pulling stuff out of my ASS and thinking about it as I'm sitting here, right? But, you know, he could have done like some kind of like 3 different horror stories that all go together and then combine at the end in the 4th one. And it could have been a 4-part horror story or something, you know? There are so many things he could have done. People love his conspiracies. People love, you know, his spooky tales and all this kind of stuff. He could have gone out and he could have like gone and looked at haunted places in Colorado that he's never seen before, right? And that could have been his next series. But why, like, I don't know, haunted mines, haunted mountains, haunted ski lodges, haunted anything. But why another series with Jeffree Star? Do you lack that much creativity, or do you owe it to this man because he made you so much money and he can't sell that yak meat? So now you're going to do this series, and now everybody's going to flood over to Jeffree Star's yak website to buy his meat. Is that what this is about? Or is there another product aligned with this? Because that's what people expect at this point. And I know that there are people out there that love Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star together. Have at it. I don't. They're boring to me. It's, you know, there were so many comments on here when I was reading the comments. When you go underneath Shane Dawson's, hold on a second, let me pull it up. When you go underneath his Twitter where he announced it, where I was saying that the comments were kind of ruthless to him, you guys, they're not good. Okay, here they are. Somebody said, had your notifications on for your response 2 years ago. Wasn't expecting this. Somebody said same. Somebody said maybe Destry and you guys should get together and create a new podcast. Somebody said, this is embarrassing. No. Ooh. Please, Shane, I'm begging you. Not now. I am so not ready. We love a toxic friendship, though. It would have been nice to see that you grew from what happened, but going back to Jeffree really just speaks volumes, dude. Shaking my head. And then somebody said, can someone explain what happened that everybody hates him too? And then somebody responded to this and said, you have internet access, right? Somebody said, I was expecting the P world of Destry Smith. Somebody said, please bring back the conspiracy videos, not Jeffree Star. How about he doesn't bring back any videos and just removes... This is under Shane Dawson's tweet, you guys. And just removes himself entirely from the internet so he can't prey on people anymore. Sigh, but unfortunately, he never will. Somebody said, oh, I'm happy for you and half of the internet trolls don't want to see you change or get better or do better. And I appreciate you for doing better. And, okay. Somebody said, we want to see him change. The problem is that he hasn't. While artificially making his own comeback and now announcing new work he's doing with grossly controversial and problematic Jeffree Star and other people. This isn't change. And then somebody says the drama channels might never say it, but we all know how excited and thankful they are because they're about to pay rent and then some. Well, I didn't say it wasn't true, you know what I mean? And speaking of drama channels, I do want to give some shout outs because the drama channels sounded off last night. So I thought I would give some shout outs to several of the drama channels that had things to say last night about the Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson new, the new series. So Zachary Michael, who does Amberlynn Reed content and Chantal Foodie Beauty, he's one of my dear friends. I love Zach so much. He's such a great guy. He put somebody posted this on Twitter, woke up in 2019, and then they put the Shane Dawson thing. And Zach said, imagine getting canceled for a variety of reasons, but one of those reasons being your behavior with Jeffree Star, and then thinking this was the move to make some kind of big comeback on the internet. Exactly. Nick Doramio, who I love so much, he said, he retweeted Shane Dawson's thumbnail of the thing and said he's really excited and proud of this. He said, do you want to watch 3 hours of cow stock footage intercut with a blog of Jeffree Star saying how dark and scary the whole meat industry is, except for his yaks, which are miraculously heart-healthy miracle food, despite also being red meat. I love him so much. Okay. Tea time! Said, Father God, if it's the last days, just make it quick. We've suffered enough. And then Adam McIntyre, somebody tweeted, Shane has literally not left his house and Jeffree kills yaks for a living. What is there to see? And Adam McIntyre said, ooh. And then I retweeted it and I said, thoughts? And Adam retweeted it. Adam McIntyre retweeted it and said, and prayers. Angelica Oles retweeted it and said, I'm getting flashbacks just looking at this. And I am too. And so Xylee from Xylee Gets Real, she said, really? Is this really happening? OMG. OMFG. And finally, Bruce Allen said, is anyone actually surprised? I figured it was about Jeffree the first time Shane said he was filming a new series. And I think that's kind of what everybody feels like at this point. Like, are we really surprised? You know, what's the next one going to be called when they're 75, the retirement? World of Jeffree Star, and they're both living in a retirement home? We can only hope. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.